Welcome to my channel. Value Old Coins Today videos is one you won't to miss. We're diving into the world of coins, so let's get it started. The 1981 D Washington Quarter is a representative issue of the long-running Washington Quarter series, which first began in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. By 1981, the series had already been in circulation for nearly 50 years, and the design, though familiar to Americans, continued to be struck each year at multiple U.S. mint facilities. The coin bears the denomination quarter dollar, with the obverse portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan, and the heraldic eagle reverse, which was used from 1932 until it was replaced by the state quarters program in 1999. On the obverse, the central design element is a left-facing bust of George Washington, the first president of the United States, who served from 1789 to 1797 and is widely regarded as a father of his country. Washington's portrait is strong and stoic, showing a classical influence, with a prominent jawline and hair tied back in a low ribbon queue, which was a common 18th century hairstyle. Above his head arches the inscription Liberty in bold capital letters, reminding citizens of the foundational principles of the nation. To the left of Washington's neck is the motto, "In God We Trust," a traditional expression of national faith that has appeared on U.S. coinage since the Civil War era. Beneath Washington's portrait, at the very bottom edge, is a date of issue, 1981. Just to the right of the ribbon in Washington's hair, placed subtly, is the mint mark D, signifying that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint in Colorado. The reverse of the 1981 D quarter is dominated by the image of a heraldic eagle, adapted from the Great Seal of the United States. The eagle face is left with wings fully outstretched in a pose of vigilance and power. Its chest bears no shield, but its claws are firmly gripping an olive branch and a bundle of arrows. The olive branch symbolizes the United States' desire for peace, while the arrows remind all the nation is prepared to defend itself if necessary, a balance of peace and strength. Surrounding the eagle are inscriptions. At the very top, in a curved arc, is United States of America, while just below this, across the upper field, is a Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. This phrase represents a unity of the states forming one nation. Beneath the eagle's tail and extending along the lower rim is the denomination quarter dollar. The font and arrangement of these inscriptions are consistent with earlier Washington quarters and serve to balance the reverse design. In terms of specifications, the 1981 D Washington quarter is struck in copper-nickel-clad composition, a change that had taken effect in 1965 after the rising price of silver made circulating silver coinage impractical. The coin has an inner core of pure copper and outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silvery appearance while maintaining durability. Its standard weight is 5.67 grams, with a diameter of 24.3 millimeters and a reeded edge containing 119 reeds. These features not only helped to deter counterfeiting, but also gave the coin a distinctive tactile and auditory feel when handled. The Denver Mint, which produced this coin, was one of 3 active facilities striking quarters in 1981, the others being Philadelphia and San Francisco. The mint mark D indicates Denver production, and this mint has long been known for its role in producing large quantities of coin for everyday circulation. In 1981, the mintage of the Denver Washington quarter was very high, well into the hundreds of millions, reflecting the heavy demand for quarters in commerce at the time. Because of this, most 1981 D quarters are considered common in circulated grades, though coins that survive in pristine, uncirculated condition with sharp strikes and lustrous surfaces are more sought after by collectors. The historical backdrop of the 1981 D quarter is also significant. The early 1980s in the United States were marked by economic challenges, including inflation and unemployment, along with the beginning of the Reagan presidency, which brought new economic policies and a shift in the political climate. Though the quarter itself does not directly reference these events, coins always serve as silent witnesses to the eras in which they circulate. A 1981 D quarter may have passed through countless hands at gas stations, grocery stores, payphones, arcades, and vending machines, everyday reminders of how coins connect ordinary citizens with the broader national economy. Collectors pay attention to subtle details in coins like the 1981 D quarter. Variations in strike quality, die wear, or small minting anomalies, such as doubled dies, die cracks, or off-center strikes, can create collectible varieties. The Denver Mint, known for producing sharper strikes compared to Philadelphia, often yields coins with slightly better details, though many were still heavily used in circulation. In higher grades, especially mint state, MS-65 and above, the 1981 D quarter becomes more desirable, as clean examples are scarcer than the raw mintage numbers might suggest. Proof-like or exceptionally lustrous specimens are particularly appealing to collectors who specialize in Washington quarters. Finally, the symbolism of the design should not be overlooked. Washington's portrait reminds Americans of leadership, independence, and the founding of the Republic, while the eagle and its paired symbols of peace and war serve as constant national emblems. The inscriptions, Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, $quarter, form a textual framework that reinforces values of freedom, faith, unity, and national identity. The 1981 D quarter is not rare in itself, but it stands as a piece of circulating art embodying decades of tradition while bridging the gap between past and present. In summary, the 1981 D Washington quarter is a copper-nickel-clad coin struck at the Denver Mint, featuring John Flanagan's iconic bust of George Washington on the obverse and a heraldic eagle reverse. It represents not only a unit of currency but also a historical artifact, connecting everyday commerce to the enduring symbols of American independence and unity. Its abundance and circulation makes it common in worn condition, but its beauty, history, and design give it a permanent place in U.S. numismatic heritage. The 1984 D Washington quarter is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, a coinage type first issued in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first president of the United States. This particular coin, struck at the Denver Mint in Colorado, bears a familiar portrait of Washington on the obverse and the heraldic eagle reverse, a design that had been in use continuously since 1932 and would remain the standard until the launch of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. Though commonplace in circulation, the 1984 D quarter is a rich artifact of its era, embodying the art of coin design, the economic realities of the early 1980s, and the enduring symbols of American identity. On the obverse front of the coin, the dominant feature is the profile bust of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan and modeled from Jean-Antoine Houdon's famous 1786 bust of Washington. The portrait depicts Washington facing left, with his hair tied back in a neat queue with a ribbon, reflecting both the fashion of his time and the classical style that conveyed dignity and republican virtue. Above the portrait, arched in bold capital letters, is the word Liberty. This single word is not merely a label but a statement of national identity, anchoring the coin to the core American value of freedom. To the left of Washington's profile, along the edge of the field, is the motto "In God We Trust," a reminder of the religious heritage and moral philosophy underpinning the nation. Beneath Washington's bust, at the very bottom rim of the coin, is the date of mintage, 1984. Slightly to the right of the ribbon in Washington's hair, in small lettering, is a mint mark D, signifying that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The reverse of the coin presents a heraldic eagle, which had become an emblematic design across American coinage. The eagle is shown with wings fully extended, facing left but with a commanding, forward-oriented gaze. It clutches in its talons two important symbols, an olive branch, representing peace, and a bundle of arrows, representing readiness to defend the nation through military strength if necessary. The olive branch is positioned more prominently, symbolizing the nation's preference for peace over war, though the arrows remain a constant reminder of defense and vigilance. Above the eagle, in a graceful arc following the coin's rim, is the United States of America. Just below that inscription, in smaller letters centered above the eagle's head, is a Latin phrase E Pluribus Unum, which translates to out of many, one. This motto emphasizes the unity of the states into a single nation, a central theme of American identity. Beneath the eagle, at the lower rim, appears a denomination in full, $quarter. Together, these inscriptions and symbols balance the design with both visual symmetry and deep patriotic meaning. The technical specifications of the 1984 D quarter reflect the copper-nickel-clad composition introduced in 1965 after the removal of silver from circulating quarters. The coin's composition consists of a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving the coin its silvery appearance while ensuring durability and cost efficiency. The quarter has a standard weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and a thickness of about 1.75 millimeters. Its edge is reeded with 119 small ridges, both as a decorative feature and as a practical deterrent against coin clipping or counterfeiting. These specifications became standardized across all Washington quarters after 1965 and remain in place today. The Denver Mint, represented by the D Mint mark, was one of the principal production facilities of the U.S. Mint in 1984. Quarters were also struck that year at Philadelphia, no mint mark, and San Francisco, with the S Mint mark, producing proof coinage. The Denver facility had a reputation for striking coins with strong, consistent quality, and in 1984 it produced a very large number of quarters to meet the needs of commerce. In fact, the mintage of the 1984 D Washington quarter was more than 500 million coins, meaning that it was a very common coin in circulation and remains readily available to collectors in circulated grades. Because of this abundance, circulated examples have little numismatic premium beyond face value, though well-preserved uncirculated coins with brilliant mint luster or high grade certified by grading services can command modest collector interest. In terms of historical context, the 1984 D quarter circulated during an era marked by political and economic developments in the United States. The early 1980s had seen a struggle with inflation and recession, but by 1984, the economy had begun to stabilize under the Reagan administration, ushering in a period of economic recovery. Quarters minted in this period played an essential role in everyday commerce, whether for parking meters, vending machines, payphones, or daily purchases at shops and gas stations. Though the coin itself did not carry special commemorative themes, its designs and inscriptions still embodied the enduring American ideals of liberty, trust in God, and national unity. Each 1984 D quarter is thus not just a piece of currency, but also a tiny artifact of daily life in that era. From a numismatic perspective, the 1984 D Washington quarter presents a few areas of interest. While the bulk of the coins are ordinary, collectors carefully study coins for errors and varieties, such as double dies, repunched mint marks, die cracks, or off-center strikes. Such errors are rare but can elevate the value of an otherwise common coin. More routinely, collectors aim for high-grade mint-state examples. Quarters with sharp strikes, minimal bag marks, and strong luster graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC Scacer, and valued significantly above face value. In addition, full rolls or original mint sets containing pristine 1984 D quarters are prized by series collectors who seek to complete Washington quarter-dated mint mark sets. The symbolism and artistry of the coin also deserve reflection. The pairing of Washington's profile with the eagle reverse offers a balance of leadership and national strength. Washington represents a personal integrity and vision of the founding era, while the eagle represents a collective power and endurance of the nation. To reinforce this duality, liberty anchors a coin to America's founding ideals. In God we trust ties are designed to the country's moral and spiritual compass, and E Pluribus Unum reflects the unity of diverse states into one nation. Together, these elements make the 1984 D quarter not just a utilitarian coin but a compact expression of American identity. Though the 1984 D Washington quarter is not rare, its abundance is itself part of its meaning. Coins like these are workhorses of a nation's economy, endlessly circulating from hand to hand, generation to generation, bearing symbols and words that remind every citizen of their shared heritage. While a collector might seek pristine mint-state examples, the worn quarters that pass through millions of pockets, cash registers, and vending machines are just as historically significant, for they were the silent witnesses of daily American life in the mid-1980s. Whether shiny and new or dulled from decades of use, the 1984 D quarter remains a testament to the continuity of the Washington quarter design and its role in the everyday life of the United States. The 1985 P Washington quarter is a circulation strike coin of the United States, belonging to the long-running Washington quarter series that began in 1932 as a bicentennial tribute to George Washington's birth. By 1985, the design by sculptor John Flanagan had already been in use for more than half a century, becoming one of the most recognizable pieces of American coinage. This particular issue, minted at the Philadelphia Mint and identified by its P mint mark placed on the obverse, belongs to the era of copper-nickel-clad coinage introduced in 1965 after the discontinuation of 90% silver quarters. While the 1985 P is not rare in general circulation, its design and production tell us much about U.S. coinage, symbolism, and history during the mid-1980s. The obverse design of the 1985 P quarter features the portrait of George Washington, the nation's first president and commander-in-chief of the Continental Army during the Revolutionary War. The bust is adapted from French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon's 1786 marble likeness of Washington, which is considered one of the most accurate representations of him in existence. John Flanagan's interpretation presents Washington in a left-facing profile, his hair tied back in a queue with a ribbon, a hairstyle of 18th century dignity that also conveys a sense of classical formality. Above his portrait, in large and bold letters, arches the word liberty. This word, serving as one of the foundational principles of American identity, takes prime position on the coin's obverse, reminding every holder of the freedoms preserved in the Republic. To the left of Washington's neck is inscribed the national motto, "In God We Trust," which has appeared on U.S. coinage since the Civil War era and became mandatory on nearly all coins in the mid-20th century. At the bottom center of the obverse is a date 1985, identifying the year of mintage. Just to the right of the bow in Washington's hair, within the field, is a mint mark P for the Philadelphia Mint. This placement of the P mint mark only began in 1980. Before that, Philadelphia-struck quarters carried no mint mark at all. Turning to the reverse, one sees a familiar image of a heraldic eagle, an enduring symbol of American power and unity. The eagle is presented with wings fully outspread in a bold and commanding pose. Its head is turned to the left, its beak closed, and its gaze forward, exuding vigilance and watchfulness. Clutched firmly in its talons are two powerful symbols, a bundle of arrows and an olive branch. The olive branch signifies peace, diplomacy, and the nation's preference to seek harmony, while the arrows serve as a reminder that the United States maintains the strength and readiness to defend itself when necessary. Above the eagle, following the curve of the rim, is the legend United States of America. Directly beneath it, in smaller but centered letters, is a motto, E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one. This phrase is one of the oldest mottos of the United States, capturing the essence of a union created from many states and peoples. At the bottom, beneath the eagle's tail and wings, is a denomination spelled out as $quarter. The inscriptions, carefully balanced with the design, create a sense of order and symmetry, complementing the national symbolism embodied by the eagle. The technical specifications of the 1985 P quarter reflect the clad coinage standard established 2 decades earlier. It is struck in a copper-nickel composition consisting of an inner core of pure copper with an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This produces a silvery appearance while remaining cost-effective and durable for circulation. The coin weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and features a reeded edge with 119 tiny grooves. These ridges serve both an anti-counterfeiting function and a tactile identifier for the visually impaired. The thickness of the coin is about 1.75 millimeters. The clad quarters were designed to withstand extensive circulation without wearing down too quickly, which is why so many from the 1980s, including the 1985 P, remain in circulation even today. The Philadelphia Mint, represented by the P mint mark, was one of the primary producers of quarters in the mid-1980s, alongside the Denver Mint. In 1985, the Philadelphia facility struck over 900 million quarters, a massive mintage reflecting the high demand for quarters in everyday commerce. Such high production numbers make the 1985 P one of the more common issues of the Washington Quarter series, ensuring its survival in abundance in both circulated and uncirculated forms. Because of this large mintage, most examples have little collector premium beyond face value, unless they are preserved in exceptional condition. However, the fact that the P mint mark was still relatively new to the series gives this issue added importance within the numismatic timeline, especially for those building complete mint mark sets. The historical context of the 1985 P quarter is also worth noting. The mid-1980s in the United States were marked by economic recovery and growth after the difficulties of the late 1970s and early 1980s. The Reagan administration emphasized policies of economic liberalization, military strength, and renewed national confidence. Coins like the 1985p quarter did not directly commemorate specific events, but they circulated as silent witnesses to a changing America, passing through countless vending machines, parking meters, toll booths, payphones, and convenience stores. Each coin, no matter how ordinary, was part of the daily fabric of American life, linking millions of people through commerce. From a collector's standpoint, the 1985p Washington quarter is primarily of interest in high grades or when errors are discovered. The sheer size of the mintage means that circulated examples are extremely common, often worth only their face value. However, uncirculated coins with strong strikes and lustrous surfaces graded MS65 or higher are far scarcer than the overall mintage suggests. As with most quarters of this era, the Philadelphia Mint often produced coins with weaker strikes compared to Denver, meaning sharply struck 1985p quarters are prized by specialists. Errors such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, or die cracks occasionally appear and can greatly increase collector interest and value. Finally, the symbolism of the coin must be appreciated in full. George Washington's portrait on the obverse anchors a series and a tribute to America's founding father, reflecting leadership, strength, and integrity. The heraldic eagle on the reverse reminds Americans of national unity, resilience, and the delicate balance between peace and preparedness. The inscriptions, Liberty Indiana God We Trust, E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, quarter dollar, create a framework of ideals and values, ensuring that every person handling the coin engages, even subconsciously, with the nation's principles. In this sense, the 1985p quarter is more than a piece of metal. It is a portable token of American identity, history, and continuity. In conclusion, the 1985p Washington quarter is a common but meaningful coin of the Clad era, struck at the Philadelphia Mint in massive numbers. It bears John Flanagan's classic design of George Washington on the obverse and a heraldic eagle on the reverse, surrounded by mottos and legends that reflect national unity and values. Though plentiful and readily found in circulation, it holds enduring historical and symbolic significance.